For the last 100 days, I've averaged 4 hours of deep work every single day with 90-minute single task focus. This has allowed me to turn my unprofitable online business profitable, unlock time and location freedom, and become a digital nomad. But because I only needed 4 hours a day to do this, this allowed me to progress in other areas of my life, like running a marathon every month, learning new languages, exploring new cities, and lifting weights. This is exactly what I do and what I got a group of online entrepreneurs to do to achieve 4 hours of deep work every single day without distractions. Before we start, let's get very clear on the definitions here. I define deep work as taking action on your current highest priority task. Deep work isn't doing the actions that make your brain hurt the most. Deep work is doing the actions that progress you the fastest towards your goal. Now, the very first thing to do is have clear alignment with your North Star. See, most people look like this. You're just a boat floating around in the ocean and you have no clear purpose or direction. There's fog all around you. There's no clear link as to where exactly you're going. It is so much easier to work when you're working towards something that actually excites you. Having a guiding light is incredibly important. I remember really struggling to work at university and then in my 9-to-5 job. And when I look back on that, one of the big reasons for that is I didn't have a clear why. I didn't know why I was putting in this work. There was no clear goal I was working towards. So not having a clear goal makes it very difficult for you to want to do any work in the first place. So the very first thing we have to do here is we need to have a North Star. We need to have a guiding light, because when you have this North Star and guiding light, you have clear purpose and direction. And when you have this purpose and direction, it becomes so much more obvious what you have to do, and it also becomes so more obvious why you're doing it. And if you have a real motive to why you're doing something, it makes it so much easier to work. This is why figuring out what your North Star is the very first thing that you do when you join the Modern Monk community, because there's no point in putting in all this effort rowing the boat if you don't actually know where you're going in the first place. Once you have this North Star, once you know exactly where you want this boat to go, the next question is, can this boat actually get me there? Is this the right vehicle for me to get to this North Star and to get to this goal? Because if you have a big, grand, ambitious goal, but you're in this little sailboat and you want to travel all the way across the world, you're probably not going to be able to do this in this current vehicle. So the next thing to figure out is, can this vehicle actually get me to my North Star? Now, if you've got a big goal, if you have a massive goal, you need a massive vehicle. You need the right vehicle that's actually going to get you to this goal. So that's why the second thing that we do in the Modern Monk community is figure out, can your vehicle actually get you there? You have to validate the fact that if you put in all this work, this vehicle is actually going to allow you to get there. Because no matter how much we work, if we are in a sailboat and we're trying to get all the way across the world, we're not going to get there. Now, for most people, they're in the correct vehicle. For most people, this is not the deficiency. I had this problem historically when I was working in a 9-to-5 job, and I thought, okay, this can't give me time freedom. This can't give me location freedom. This can't pay me what I want. I'm in the wrong vehicle. But for a lot of people, especially if you are running an online business, you're already in a position where you have a strong vehicle, and this is no longer the deficiency. But this is the second step after you know your North Star, is making sure that you're in the right vehicle. The next thing we need to do is we need to know our inputs. We need to know the exact set of actions that we need to do to genuinely push our boat forward, to genuinely progress us in our current vehicle towards our North Star. See, there are hundreds of things that you can potentially do to move you forward, to progress, but there are only a select few that are gonna genuinely move the needle big time. See, most of us right now are overwhelmed with the hundreds of options and the hundreds of actions that we can possibly do. The next thing we have to figure out is, of these hundreds of actions, what are the few set of actions that genuinely move the needle and genuinely push us forward? I would be thinking about the 80-20 principle here that states that 20% of the work produces 80% of the results. See, of these hundreds of possible actions here, only 20% of these actions are genuinely going to push the vehicle forward in a big way. So our job is to cut out 80% of these garbage activities and just leave ourselves with the 20% of actions that are going to really progress us and push us forward towards this North Star. The next big thing we have to think about here is decision fatigue. If we have to make a lot of decisions in the moment, we're going to make a lot of bad decisions, because when we make decisions in the moment, we think about instant gratification. We think about things that are going to make us feel really good. So you might have your vehicle right now, and on the back of your vehicle, you might have a bunch of supermodels. Now, if you had to make the decision every single time, do I drive this ship forward, or do I go and hang out with the supermodels you're probably going to choose to go and hang out with the supermodels. Now, this could be you scrolling, you binge watching things, you taking on easy tasks that aren't the 80/20s. Whatever this is, you're far more likely to make a poor decision when you have to make a decision in the moment. If you could make this decision a week ago, you're far less likely to be doing the tempting activities that make you feel good right now, but don't actually push the ship forward. Because if you come into these deep work blocks and you have no idea what you're gonna do, then your map is gonna look like this. There's endless possibilities, there's endless tasks that you have to do, and a lot of these tasks aren't going to move you forward, but you have no clear path forward. Whereas if you come into your deep work blocks and you know the exact set of actions to do, then it's a very, very clear path from where you are to the end of this deep work block, actually doing the 80/20 activities. By simply removing all of the decisions, you make less instant gratification decisions, and you're far more likely to actually do the high impact tasks that move us forward. Decision fatigue is one thing to manage, but another huge thing to manage here is fear fatigue. See, time is a huge multiplier on fear. So you might have a small task to do here. Maybe this is you posting a YouTube video. Maybe this is you doing some cold outreach. Maybe this is you launching an ad campaign. Whatever this is, you look at this activity and you think, nah, maybe I'll do this tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and you think, maybe I'll do it the next day. And then you push it back and push it back and push it back. And it gets to a couple weeks. And now this very, very small task, this tiny little activity here, becomes a huge monster. It becomes a real issue that we genuinely have to face and that is way, way scarier. The longer we wait to do tasks, the more fear this builds up in our head, no matter how small the task is. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to look at the biggest tasks, the tasks that really move us forward, and we do these first. We get these out the way quickly. Because if time is a multiplier on fear, the scarier a task is to do at the start just means the bigger of a monster it becomes, the more we wait to put it off. This is why we always attack the biggest activities very, very first thing. This is also why I define deep work as taking on your number one highest priority task. Because if you're doing anything but the number one highest priority task, you're making this monster grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And also you're progressing slower than you could be progressing. Because if you're doing the number one highest priority task, this is the fastest way that you can possibly progress forward. The next thing that we have to do is we have to genuinely act as if our deep work is our highest priority task. A lot of us know that, okay, this goal I have, this North Star, this is my highest priority, but are you acting as if that's the case? Because if you were truly acting as if your North Star, this deep work, was your number one priority, then nothing would take priority over it. Nothing would get in the way. And as we keep progressing further and further and further towards this North Star, the shinier the objects become. So you might have Ronaldo offering you onto his super yacht with a helicopter on top, right? This is a very, very tempting, alluring offer, but you have to say, I'm sorry, Ronaldo, I would love to jump onto your super yacht. I would love to take that helicopter for a spin, but the deep work is my number one highest priority. Nothing gets in the way of that, because the reality is, if you said, okay, sure, Ronaldo, I'm not going to worry about my deep work. I'm not going to continue to push my vehicle forward. I'm going to have all this fun. I'm going to let your super yacht get in the way of me progressing forward. What's going to happen is you might spend a few days on Ronaldo's yacht, but after a while, Ronaldo's going to go, this guy's a bum. I don't want this guy on my yacht, because you're not progressing forward in any way. You're letting every single other distraction in your life take priority over your North Star. This is why we have to block out this first 4 to 5 hours of the day and say, sorry, Ronaldo, right now I can't jump on your yacht. Sorry to all of these distractions, all of these things going on. This is my number one priority. Nothing takes priority over this. Therefore, this is sacred time. I protect this with my life so that every single day I'm progressing forward. And guess what? At the end of that 4 hours, I can go, okay, Ronaldo, I would love to jump on your boat now, but not until I've progressed forward. So with this 4 hours of sacred time that we block off, that we protect like it is our number one priority, because it is, we work on the 80/20 actions. We aren't making any decisions whatsoever, and we are just taking action forwards towards this North Star. And what happens when we say no to these distractions? What happens when we absolutely protect this 4 hours with our life and just progress forward in this block is that we keep progressing forward. Because we're doing the needle moving activities, we get really good returns in our time, we progress really fast. And what happens when you progress really quickly? Well, your free time gets more enjoyable. You unlock more of the world, more things become available to you. So it may have been Ronaldo offering you his super yacht, but now you got Jeff Bezos, and Jeff Bezos doesn't have a helicopter, he's got a private jet on his roof, and he has all of these water slides coming off his boat. The world gets more exciting, more offers become available to you. The free time that you have on the back end of this work becomes so much sweeter when you continue to push yourself forward from these work blocks that we can get done. And because this only takes 4 hours a day, this means that the back 2/3 of your day, you get to enjoy in complete freedom to do things like this, to do the enjoyable activities. Of course, you're probably not going to be on Jeff Bezos' yacht, but the point is you get to enjoy this pure freedom. But not only that, is that it came on the back end of progressing forward, progressing towards your North Star. And this makes the free time that we have so much more enjoyable, because not only do you unlock more of the world, more opportunities, but it tastes so sweet because it's come on the back end of so much progress. So this is how you can go from a position where you're probably just a little ship in the middle of the ocean, you have no idea where you're going whatsoever, to being able to continue to progress and push forward towards your North Star and enjoy the freedom that you can get on the back end of your day when you're able to work 4 hours a day on the highest leverage, highest priority tasks. So if you're an online entrepreneur and you want help structuring your work like this so you can progress extremely quickly and enjoy the freedom of time and location that online entrepreneurship provides, then you can join the Modern Monk community for free. I'll leave a link in the description below. The very first thing we do is we figure out what is your North Star. Then we validate your vehicle to make sure this vehicle can actually get you to your North Star. And then we simplify your inputs so that there is a small set of actions that you can follow to get you to your goal. The only thing left to do is consistently execute on those inputs, which we show you how to do by structuring your work exactly like this. For everyone else, if you want to see the 100-day deep work experiment that absolutely changed how I work forever, then you can watch this video right here. So I'll either see you in the Modern Monk community or in that video. Cheers.